to another exciting episode of Lady Vibe Talk. Today we have the honor to get our old friend Jennifer Sherman into the studio again. In the previous couple of episodes, we talked about how to eat healthy for your body. And also talking about how do you do exercise to stay fit. Today we're going to talk about the third pillar of good health, which is about sleeping. I don't know about you, Rachel, or Jen. Like I have been having difficulties sleeping in the past year or so. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and it's hard for me to get back to sleep. So I definitely look forward to what you're going to share with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would completely agree with you, Ning. It's so challenging, especially on long, hard, stressful work days to get adequate sleep. And it really has impacted energy levels, the ability to get up and do workouts in the morning. So I'm so excited to learn more from you, or we're so excited to learn more from you, Jen, about how to achieve better sleep.
Absolutely. Sleep and stress management is one of the most valuable things we can do in order to promote fat loss. So I'm very excited to talk to you guys about the science that's been out there that demonstrates why sleep quality matters when you're trying to lose fat.
Absolutely. When I don't sleep well, I cannot function well for work. And sometimes I get a tension headache too. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So what should we do to kind of fall in sleep easily and also stay deeply in sleep?
So I think about it like dental hygiene. We need sleep hygiene as well. So it's very important that you have a routine before you go to bed. It's putting down your cell phones, stopping TV, maybe you write in a journal. I will write a to-do list for the next day so that my brain isn't thinking about the 1,000 things that we have to do every single day. And it's about finding a routine that works for you in order to calm your nervous system and get you ready for sleep. Sometimes women have a hard time staying asleep when you're in perimenopause.
So pause a little bit. So you mean that we have to be like babies, have a sleep routine like for every night? I never thought about it.
That's a good way to put it. You know, it's almost like, what rules do you have for your children? And you have to set rules for yourself. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm an adult, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I can see where this is going. What are you going to tell me to put my phone down?
I am. I'm going to tell you, turn off your phone, stop shopping late at night, laying in bed with your phone, spend that time with your significant other, or just meditating by yourself. But there's a lot we can do to really promote good quality sleep.
So I guess foremost important, turn off the media, right? TV too, like.
Yeah, ideally you want to stop watching TV about a half hour to an hour before bed.
Yeah. Especially don't watch the news.
Don't watch stressful things. So if the news stresses you out, don't watch that. If you're watching like one of those murder mystery type things, that might stress you out. Maybe it makes you happy. I don't know. But figure out what you want to watch to really calm your nervous system down before you watch.
Okay, so are you going to tell me that my sheets have to be clean every night? And what are you going to tell me that, like, you know, we got to have some organic farm-to-table sheets? What's the thing here?
I mean, I would love that. If I was a billionaire, I'd probably have that. But realistically, no, you don't need that stuff. But you do want to be comfortable. You want to crawl into your bed and think, I'm in bed. You know, so however you do that, however your sheets are, then that's good enough. Do I wash my sheets all the time? Absolutely not. I don't have time for that. Do I spray anything on my sheets? Absolutely not.
On that one.
Exactly. So you've got to think of realistic things that you put into place that are going to work.
Yeah, and I like cotton sheets. For sure. Like those microfiber stuff don't make me feel comfortable.
And I like silk because it actually keeps me from getting too hot at night.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
It's for
it.
your hair too. The silk pillowcases.
Basically,
Okay, so you said get a routine.
Yeah.
You said nice sheets. I'm just kidding. You didn't say that, but we all like nice
But if
sheets.
you can invest in nice sheets, they're very nice.
What else can we do though? Like what else can we do? What about eating, drinking, having water, hot tea? I think there's a lot of different ideas on,
Right.
how,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're waking up in the middle of the night because you have to constantly urinate, then take into account how much you drink before bed.
right.
So if you can sleep through the night without worrying about going to the restroom every couple of hours, then you're doing it just fine as long as you're getting enough water during the day. Otherwise, if you're constantly waking up, you might be drinking too much before bed. Now, sometimes having a nice hot cup of tea is great because it actually calms your nervous system and it'll help lower your stress, which will help you fall asleep. I often, with my clients, I tell them to listen to a sleep meditation when they go to bed. Now, I always say you want to do something where you can download it and turn your phone on airplane mode. I am one of those who does not like to keep my phone at head level when I'm in bed. I put it somewhere else because of the waves and stuff,
Yeah.
I don't know what we're gonna find in the future, but I always recommend if you can, if your kids are home, if you're not worried about an emergency call in the middle of the night, turn your phone on airplane mode, and then listen to something soothing to fall asleep. There's a lot of different options out there also.
Yeah.
What about the Calm app? Have either of y'all used the Calm app? What is on the Calm app?
I use the Calm app. I got the year subscription last year because I wanted to use the different meditations with my students, because another thing we'll talk about is really managing your stress in order to reduce your fats. And it goes with sleep and stress. They go hand in hand. So in the Calm app, I loved their sleep stories.
I was going for the sleep stories. Yup.
I love them. And you know what's funny? I would listen to, who was it? Scottie Pippen. I loved his voice when I was falling asleep. I thought my husband probably wanted to kill me. He sleeps later than I do. So he'd come in and he'd shut it off because I would be fast asleep. I would think these are cool stories, and then within 10 minutes, I'm out like a light.
It's like the white noise for babies.
Yeah.
I never thought about it.
So funny. So funny.
Yeah.
I like the Camilla Cabello. She has a story about getting massage in the rainforest, and that's my favorite one. It's about 15 minutes, but that's my favorite. And her voice is just like, you feel like you're like, I don't know, kind of like what Ning said. It's like grandma's putting you to bed or something.
I love it. And also, there are different.
So it's called the Calm app?
Calm.
Uh-huh.
CALM.
And you have to pay for it?
You do have to pay for a subscription.
Okay,
You could probably try it out for a little while for free and then see if you like it. There are other ones too. You can do sleep hypnosis, where if you're struggling with anxiety, if you're struggling with binge eating, or any type of different stress. I see, yeah, you got the Calm app.
Yeah, I'm trying to show it. It's not showing.
So you can do different hypnosis while you're sleeping to try to help you as well. So there are many free options out there. And I just have my clients test out different ones. I usually send several different styles, and I say, see what works for you.
Yeah. And I don't have a problem falling asleep, but I do have problems staying in sleep. Like I would, especially like if I have an early meeting the next day, if I have a 5:30 meeting, I will wake up like at 3 o'clock because subconsciously I'm thinking about
Of course.
not being late.
Right.
So yeah.
Some things when I have clients who are waking up at 3 and not falling back asleep,
Yeah.
I always remind them, don't look at your phone.
That's very important.
Please keep that away, because then you're going to start scrolling and you're not going to fall back asleep. Sometimes what could help, if you have headphones and you put headphones in and listen to another app to fall asleep, and work on your breathing. A lot of times I'll have clients do a specific type of breathing exercise by Dr. Andrew Weil, which really calms your nervous system and can help you fall back asleep. I also will have people keep a notebook by their bed and write out, what are the things that are stressing you out in that moment that you just remembered at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And this way you can say, okay, I'm not going to forget it. I wrote it down, put it away.
Right.
And then you can focus on yourself getting back to sleep.
Right. Get that out of your mind, guys.
There's quite a bit of science, is there not, about the connection between, letting out suppressed emotions and mental and physical health. So what is the, so there's an app I use that talks about that called Life with Kate. And Life with Kate will tell you that every day you should let your emotions out via journaling. And it kind of takes these suppressed thoughts, suppressed feelings, and puts them down on paper, and it almost lets your body release them. So kind of why is that?
Well, if you read with Dr. Matthew Walker, he speaks a lot about why we sleep, and we are trying to figure out, we spend a third of our life in hopefully a dream state and really recovery. So could be a spiritual aspect to it if you want to think about it spiritually. It could just be a mental relaxation. So I don't know if there is a conclusion as to why we do this, but we do know it is necessary for our health. There are also many studies, which I'll dive into soon, about why, if you're not sleeping well, your body is going to hold on to that stubborn fat, especially as women in our close to 40s and 50s. It gets harder and harder, and it could be because of your sleep.
So
How about stretching?
Stretching's a great thing to do before sleep. You're right. I neglected to say that, but yin yoga is one of my favorites, and it really is the opposite of yang. It's the opposite of our daily stressful lives. And to have that static stretching, slowing things down before bed, really allows you, again, to kind of relax your brain, let your body know that you're about to sleep, everything's okay, you're at home, you're in a safe environment, and it's okay to sleep.
there will not be earthquake in the middle of the night.
Well, yes, sometimes there are earthquakes, you're right.
Yeah, and for people with little kids, it's hard, right?
Yes.
To have 20 minutes, half an hour before sleeping just for yourself. Yeah, but I hear you, it's so important. So can you talk a little bit more about how deep sleeping
Yes.
can help really reduce fat? like
Absolutely.
how that works.
So we already have lots of science out there talking about how people with Alzheimer's and dementia don't sleep well. So we already know there's this disconnect in our brain. But now through Dr. Bill Campbell and some of his studies from University of South Florida, he speaks a lot about different sleep exercises and routines that we've put women, mostly women, through. And what happens is when there are two sets of women, each eating the exact same amount of calories, one group is sleeping 5 hours or less a night, and the other group is getting about 8 hours in the bedroom. The group that's sleeping for 8 hours loses significantly more fat. The other group doesn't lose weight a lot of the times, and then they end up being hungrier, they get tired. To your point, Rachel, they don't want to think about work and it's stressful, and then they lose their energy, they're not awake in the morning to exercise, so it just throws off everything. But we know for a fact that when you don't sleep well at night, your body will hold on to fat.
Okay.
So if it helps, you tell yourself, if I sleep well, I can lose this stubborn fat. So let me allow myself to sleep.
Yeah, so I guess it affects your metabolism in a way.
Not necessarily, right. And the metabolism is with your basal metabolic rate, so how much you're burning during the day. So what it could affect is your ability to put on muscle. And if your workouts aren't good, you're not going to be able to put on the muscle that you need. And so your metabolism is not going to get higher. And your body's in a stressful situation because it didn't sleep. So your body's going to say, no, I need the fat. Get rid of the muscle because that costs too much money. I'm just going to hold on to the fat. That's easier to hold on to.
I've kind of heard a lot of people request that instead of working out, they'd rather sleep. So, what is the correlation between if you have to choose, let's just call it 5 or 6 hours of sleep and a workout, or just sleeping 7 hours? What's better for your health?
So in my 20s as a trainer, I would have said, get up and get moving. And now what I tell my clients is if you didn't sleep, do not go to the gym. You actually burn your muscle. You will burn your muscle before you burn your fat. And what most women do is they go, well, I'll just go to Orange Theory. I'll just do my HIIT training. And they're stressing their body out so much that their body's like, screw this muscle. I don't need it. Hold on to the fat. And we're doing the reverse. And actually, myself, what I stopped going to the gym if I didn't get a good night's rest, or at least 2 days in a row. I think I'm probably overtraining. That's why I'm not sleeping well. I will take 2 or 3 days off of the gym till I can get my sleep back in order. And then I'm ready to go lift and I have better results.
Right. And if you don't sleep well, it's easier to get injured too when you do exercise.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, the length, some people they may just need 5 hours sleep. Some people may need 9 hours.
They
so
show
what would be the optimal length of sleep? And it doesn't matter whether you go to bed late and get up late. I mean, the timing of sleep, does it matter?
Well, that's a great question. So people need more than 5 hours. So you'll have those couple people who are like, I only sleep 4 hours and I'm great. But when you scan their brain, typically, I believe there are less than 1% of people can actually function like that. Right. The majority of people must have 7 to 9 hours. Now, some people, my husband does better with 9 hours. I do great on 7 hours. So there is that type of flexibility. But there does need to be a solid amount of time where you're actually sleeping and recovering.
Yeah. Oversleeping is probably not good either. Right?
Oversleeping can be a problem. And to your point too, with some people stay up later and in the morning. Again, when you read the studies that Dr. Matthew Walker discusses in his book, Why We Sleep, he does talk about the different times that people naturally, their circadian rhythms work. Some people are very early risers. Some people are early risers, and so they go to sleep really early. So if you naturally wake up at 4 or 4:30, like I do, you want to go to bed by 8:30 at night.
Right, exactly.
So, and some people naturally want to wake up at 10 in the morning. Well, then they can go to bed at 1 in the morning because they might function better later at night.
Right.
I want to know what y'all think about how much time, this is going to sound really strange, but how much time should we really be in the bedroom, right? Should we be in the bedroom specifically to sleep, or should we be in the bedroom? A lot of people like to go lay in bed and hang out, right? I've heard a lot of people with depression often, spend more time in bed. Just from love to hear perspectives on that.
There are 2 things you should do in your bed. That's it. One is with your significant other, and the other is with your eyes shut. Maybe both are. I don't know. But those are really the 2 things. So you want to make sure you can connect. If you are in a relationship, then you want to spend that time in the bed able to connect with each other or sleeping. I am very anti-TV in the room because it's very easy to get distracted, and it will affect your sleep. You might not think it does, but over time it will. So keep the bedroom for 2 activities.
For its own function, intended function.
I like it. I feel like the part that's like so helpful. Well, the part that's so helpful about this conversation is in particular the focus on it being a ritual, right? And you use your bedroom is a sanctuary for, you know, 2 major purposes, but it's also such a key component of health, and that it helps with recovery after a workout. It helps you, you know, gain energy, and it helps your body, you know, process. Let's just call it what's in it while you're sleeping. So I feel like, you know, from a gut health perspective, it certainly helps. From an overall energy perspective, I feel like the systems are so interconnected that sleep is so key. I think that this is so important to talk about.
I think you just reminded me of what Mel Robbins says in her new book, Let Them, is every adult is like an 8-year-old kid. So think about what happens when an 8-year-old kid doesn't sleep. It happens to us too. You can tell right away if a child does not get a good night's sleep or several good nights rest. And as adults, we're chronically undersleeping. And we might think we're in control of our behavior, but really we can be in better control of our behavior. And part of that is, well, a huge part of that is being sure you sleep well. But I'm also a big proponent of adding different types of breathing methods to your day and meditation to reduce stress. And I believe that is life-changing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have benefited from that, and we're going to have a dedicated episode for meditation, like to teach some techniques for that as well. So when I came to America, I noticed that difference. When we were in China, we all take naps in the middle of the day. You know, like cats take cat naps.
Or in Spain, they take a siesta.
Right.
You're gonna love a good cat nap.
You're not allowed because your work does not allow you to do that. So I'm just wondering, does that nap have some kind of benefit?
Napping has a great benefit. They do. Professionals who study this, PhDs who study this, will say you don't want your nap to be too long, but a 20-minute nap can be very restorative. Again, you probably don't want your nap at 5 p.m. because that'll affect you going to bed. So it's
I'm not going to bed that night.
That's right. And same with, you know, drinking caffeine after a certain hour. But again, some people's bodies can handle that. I'm not typically a napper unless I'm extremely exhausted. And if I do nap, it is 20 minutes and I'm automatically awake right after.
Okay.
My husband loves napping, and he does an hour and a half, like a full cycle, and he's good to go, and he sleeps fine at night. So it really just depends on your style and how well you sleep at night.
Right. So sometimes when I don't sleep well in the night, I need a nap.
Right.
At the end of the workday, I would usually take an hour nap, and that can, you know, restore me, my energy, and get me through the rest of the day.
There are also techniques called yoga nidra, different breathing techniques. If you are extremely exhausted during the day, it can absolutely calm you down and help you restore your energy. And it feels, even though you're awake during it, it feels as if you just took a beautiful power nap.
What's it called again?
Yoga nidra.
Yoga nidra.
Yeah.
Is that different from?
It's different because typically you're laying down or sitting, and it's basically a guided meditation.
Oh, okay.
They just call it yoga nidra. So if you don't like to meditate, you can do yoga nidra. Same thing.
Okay, great.
I love it. And then limiting food and alcohol and caffeine, like how many hours before going to bed would you recommend people stop eating and drinking?
We do know that caffeine can be in your system. It has a half-life of about 6 to 8 hours. So
Wow.
for some people, you can digest caffeine very quickly and it won't affect you. You know, I think we've all known those grandparents who can have an espresso after dinner and then they sleep just fine, or they sleep
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
But for most people, sometimes even caffeine in the morning is actually still affecting them at night. So you really want to test the boundaries for yourself and see, am I addicted to too much caffeine? Am I drinking it too late in the day? Alcohol as well, we do know you might fall asleep quickly, but your quality of sleep is very low because of the alcohol. So when you want a good night's rest for several nights, I do recommend, and I should say professionals and doctors recommend, that you don't drink alcohol and that you don't drink caffeine too late in the day.
Okay, this is going to sound like I work for a mattress company, but what role does the comfort of your mattress and or quality of your mattress play into sleep quality?
I think the older you get, the more of a role it plays. Because you want to wake up without a stiff neck or a stiff back. You know, you want to wake up feeling refreshed. And sometimes if your mattress is really old or it's too hard or too soft, it could be impacting your sleep. Now, that's usually a hefty investment. So it kind of depends on where you are financially or how old your mattress is. But it does have an impact. And that is definitely something, along with sheets, that you want to look into and maybe think about some type of investment.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many new what do you call it, mattress in a boxes now that you can get from Amazon, be it Purple or like I said, not a commercial for a mattress company, but I feel like there are so many mattresses out there that are increasingly becoming more affordable. Almost like how TV prices went down. I feel like mattress prices are going down. We've got Airbnbs, and we've bought several mattresses in the last couple months. And they've all been, really great quality. Sealy, Serta, look at Wayfair, less than $1,000 and super comfortable. So yeah, I've definitely noticed that people really, really need good sleep, and to have good sleep, I definitely feel like mattresses, having a nice mattress definitely helps with that.
I would be a little conscientious of buying mattresses from certain places, because we do know now when they're tested for plastics, the plastics run very high, which means you're breathing in. So depending on where you buy your sheets and where you buy your mattress, you could be breathing in all sorts of different
stuff.
Toxic, obesogenic chemicals, which can be impacting your hormones, causing the weight gain without you really knowing it. So sometimes that investment is very important, and the research that you do before you buy it is very impactful.
Yeah. There's a lot to learn for sure. When I was a kid, we just sleep. I can sleep anywhere. If you go to China, you can see people fall asleep anywhere. So I used to think that it doesn't matter what kind of mattress you use or what kind of pillow you use, but it does. As you said, sometimes you stay at a hotel, they have a horrible pillow, and that does affect your sleep. Definitely. But I think overall, people should find whatever works for them, right?
It's the same thing when it comes to your diet, when it comes to your exercise. Figure out what type of nighttime routine works for you.
So, in summary, I guess the take-home points are...
The take-home points we're going to say is figure out the best bedtime routine. Think about your sleep hygiene. It is very valuable. You put your phone down, spend quality time if you are in a relationship with that person. Maybe jot down any to-do lists or any stressful things that are on your brain before your head hits the pillow, hoping that you can sleep. You might want to stop drinking too soon close to bed so that you don't wake up too much. Look into a solid mattress to get that good quality sleep. And then if you wake up in the middle of the night, listen to something to help you fall back asleep so that you can get that peaceful rest that you need.
Yeah. And I guess if you did everything, but you still woke up and did not get a good night's sleep, try to catch up a nap the next day. You know, make sure that you don't overdo things when you are not fully rested.
Yeah, so that's a good point. We do know that you can't catch up on your sleep. We all tried that in college. It really doesn't work. So you cannot catch up on your sleep, but just know that if you didn't sleep well, that's a day that you should not do high intensity exercises. You probably should skip the gym. Pay attention to your food choices when you didn't sleep well. Pay attention to how you're responding to coworkers that might get under your skin or children that are driving you crazy.
Yeah.
Those little things are always impacted, and your fat will be impacted if you go for a long period of time without sleeping well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And choose the sleep over the workout.
Yeah.
Choose to sleep over the workout, but I still hope you get that workout, okay, Rachel?
I think that is an excuse.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, thank you so much, Jen, for
Thank
sharing
you.
all the tips. So I hope all of our audiences will have really sweet and tight sleep every single night.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Rest in peace.
No.
I mean, not really, but good night.
So,
99.
Bye.